Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari. That's mine. Jai Shri Sitaram Bhagwan ki Jai. Sitaram Hanuman. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we're reading from Canto 2, Chapter 7, entitled Scheduled Incarnations, verse number 8. Viddha sapatnyudita patribhiranti rajño Balopi sanupagatastāpasevanāni Tasmādā Dhruvagatim granate prasanno Divyastuvanti manayo yad uparyadhastā Vidha sapatni udita patribhiranti rajna Balopi sanupagatapas sevanani Balopi sanupagatas tapasevanani Tasmādā Dhruvagatim granate prasanno Divyastu vanti manayo yaduparyadhasta. Vidha sapatni udita patra piranti rajna. Balopi sannupagatas-tapasevanani. Tasmada Dhruva-gatim grinate prasanno. Divyastu vanti munayo yaduparyadhastat. Sapatne udita patra tirajna. Balo pipagatas tapasevanani. Tasmada Dhruva-gatim grinate prasanno. Divyastu vanti munayo yaduparyadhastat. Vidha sapatni udita patra piranti rajna. Balopi sannupagatas-tapasevanani. Tasmada Dhruva-gatim grinate prasanno. Divyavanti munayo yaduparyadhastat. Mataji's. Vidha sapatni udita patra piranti rajna. Balopi sannupagatas-tapasevanani. Tasmada Dhruva-gatim grinate prasanno. Divyastu vanti munayo yaduparyadhastat. Word for word synonyms. Vidha, pinched by. Sapatni, a co-wife. Udita, uttered by. Patribhi, by sharp words. Anti, just before. Rajna, of the king. Balaha, a boy. Api, although. San, being, so. Upagataha, took to. Tapase, severe penances. Vanani, in a great forest. Tasmai, therefore. Adat, gave as a reward. Dhruva-gatim, a path to the Dhruva planet. Grinate, on being prayed for. Prasannaha, being satisfied. Divyaha, denizens of higher planets. Stuvanti, do pray. Munaya, great sages. Yat, thereupon. Upari, up. Adhastat, down. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest. And the Lord being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages both upward and downward. Prabhupada. Purport. When he was only 5 years old, Prince Dhruva, a great devotee and the son of Maharaj Uttanapad, was sitting on the lap of his father. His stepmother did not like the king's patting her stepson, so she dragged him out, saying that he could not claim to sit on the lap of the king because he was not born out of her womb. Little boy felt insulted by this act of his stepmother, nor did his father make any protest, for he was too attached to his second wife. After this incident, Prince Dhruva went to his own mother and complained. His real mother also could not take any step because this insulting behavior, his real mother also could not take any step against the insulting behavior, and so she wept. The boy inquired from his mother how he could sit on the royal throne of his father, and the poor queen replied that only the Lord could help him. The boy inquired where the Lord could be seen, and the queen replied that it is said that the Lord is sometimes seen by great sages in the dense forest. The child prince decided to go into the forest to perform severe penances in order to achieve his objective. Prince Dhruva performed a stringent type of penance under the instruction of his spiritual master, Sri Narada Muni, who was specifically deputed for this purpose by the personality of Godhead. Prince Dhruva was initiated by Narad into chanting the hymn composed of 18 letters, namely Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Lord Vasudeva incarnated himself as Krishnagarbha, the personality of Godhead, with 4 hands, and awarded the prince a specific planet above the 7 stars. Prince Dhruva, after achieving success in his undertakings, saw the Lord face to face, and he was satisfied that all his needs were fulfilled. The planet awarded to Prince Dhruva Maharaj is fixed Vaikuntha planet installed in the material atmosphere by the will of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. This planet, although within the material world, will not be annihilated at the time of devastation, but will remain fixed in its place. And because it is a Vaikuntha planet never to be annihilated, it is worshipped even by the denizens of the 7 stars situated below the Dhruva planet, as well as by the planets which are even above the Dhruva planet. Maharshi Bhrigu's planet is situated above the Dhruva's planet. So the Lord incarnated himself as Krishnagarbha just to satisfy a pure devotee of the Lord. And Prince Dhruva achieved this perfection simply by chanting the hymn mentioned above after being initiated by another pure devotee, Narada. A serious personality can thus achieve the highest perfection of meeting the Lord and attain his objective simply by being guided by a pure devotee, who automatically approaches by dint of one's serious determination to meet the Lord by all means. The description of Prince Dhruva's activities can be read in detail in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Se He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangham Langayate Girim Yatkripat Mahamande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for being here on this Friday morning. I seek all blessings from all the devotees here, so I can speak something for my own purification. This is the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself and Srila Prabhupada and all the Acharyagans repeat this pastimes, relish this pastime so much. And I'll make an humble attempt. Don't think I can justify, but make an humble attempt to just repeat what I've been hearing about this pastime, and hopefully it will make some sense. I'll just have to open my laptop. Sorry. So, about the translation, I'll read once again. Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king. So this is King Uttanapad, who is the son of Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu is the Manu. And a significant portion of Srimad Bhagavatam has been described for the lineage of Swayambhu Manu. And Swayambhu Manu is himself, he and Shatarupa is appeared from Brahma, Lord Brahma. So this is very early on. And Uttanapad had two wives, Suniti, who was the elder one, and Suruchi, who was the younger one. And what's happened here is, insulted by the sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king. The co-wife is the Suruchi. So Prince Dhruva, only a boy, he was trying to sit on his father's lap. As Prabhupada says, he was sitting on the father's lap. And his stepmother Suruchi did not like it. Now why? I mean, her own son Uttanapad was already sitting on the king's lap. And now it was Dhruva trying to jump on the lap, which is natural for a little boy to go and sit on their father's lap. And this is, if we set the scene here, I'm just thinking it's not clearly written, but this is the assembly hall. The kings have assembly halls, and they are, attending lots of guests, and they have some discussions going on. And in that scenario where the king is sitting on the throne, If you see that, that's a lot for a child to see. My father is sitting there as a king. I want to sit on his lap. It gives a lot of joy to a child. Irrespective also, even if he was in the garden, it's the same. The child wants to sit on the lap. But this opportunity was taken away by the co-wife as the stepmother of Dhruva. It's quite a scene for Dhruva, who was only 5-year-old, that he's not even allowed to sit on his father's lap. So emotionally, he was quite shattered. Yeah. So Prince Dhruva, only a boy, then he took to severe penances on the advice of her mother, Suniti. And the whole of the 4th cantos, 8, 9, 10, 11, 5 chapters are on this pastime, and how Lord was satisfied by his prayers, by his penances, and awarded him the Dhruva planet. Srila Prabhupada has beautifully covered the whole of pastime in 4 paragraphs, dividing in different portions. There is a lot in there. I'm sure all the devotees are well versed with the pastime. So I was thinking just pick up on one character. So there are so many characters here. There is Dhruva, there is Suruchi, there is Suniti, one stepmother and his own mother, and there's King Uttanapad. There is Srila Narad Muni also coming in there. And obviously the Lord himself appeared as Prishnigarbha. Prishnigarbha, there's also a mention in the 10th canto, who appeared from Sutapa and Prishni, who were Vasudeva and Devaki in the Krishna's pastime. So this is that time. So Acharyas explain the Lord appears, because in the 10th canto there's not a lot mentioned in there, so about the pastimes of Prishnigarbha, but here it is mentioned. So when there is appearance, there is always some pastime. There is Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So both the Lord appears and he performs beautiful pastimes. And Srila Prabhupada makes a beautiful point here. The Lord incarnated himself as Prishnigarbha just to satisfy a pure devotee of the Lord. So there is no dearth of the mercy of the Lord. And the Lord can award anything to his devotees. So there is no scarcity in the material world also. There was this sense of insecurity for Suruchi when she was afraid, oh, this little boy, Dhruva, if he sits on his father's lap, maybe his father will develop more affection to Dhruva, because Dhruva was a very powerful, very sober child, and truly, the claimant of the throne. So she had this insecurity. So she was behaving that way. It seems it's quite common for Kshatriyas to have that kind of feeling, because all the Kshatriya mothers want their child to be the next king. You know the story of Gandhari and Kunti as well, a similar situation. And also the father of Satyavati wanted to make sure that Satyavati's son becomes the king, or the Bhishma had to take the great vow. So there are various characters. What happened, Suruchi, not able to tolerate Dhruva trying to sit on his father's lap, pulls him down and speaks some real harsh words. And she says a few things actually, if you read in the 4th canto. She says, first of all, she says, you don't deserve, you little boy, get out of your father's lap. You don't deserve to sit on your father's lap. Why? Because you've not taken birth from my womb. This, aham mameti. Yanasya mohoyam aham mameti. So for me, I, me and mine is the most important in the world. So you don't deserve it. Then she says, and it's an impossible desire. If you're trying to cultivate a desire, you sit on your father's lap and think that you will be made king one day, you've taken it completely wrong. It's an impossible desire to fulfill, and because you have not taken birth from my womb. Yeah? And if you really want to attain what you want to attain, then you know what you have to do. You have to go to the forest, you have to perform lots of penances, tapasya, and you have to please the Supreme Lord, so that in the next birth you take in my womb. And then maybe your desire can be fulfilled. Now, this is quite a lot. So she's not only, making this child cry for a little opportunity that he was trying to attain. She's asking Dhruva to die because she's saying, you die, you perform worship, you penances, tapasya, you die. And then I will enjoy your mother crying. This is the level of enviousness you can see can happen when someone goes beyond, the quota of their, the quota of their life. So she's gone very far ahead, and Dhruva is not able to tolerate. He does not. He's only a 5-year-old boy, and he's seeing so much. It's quite intense atmosphere, and there's all the assembly. Everyone is there. Dhruva doesn't know what to do. Uttanapad is quiet, and this is the situation of a king who is henpecked. He's not able to speak. He's being controlled by his second wife. And he just can't do anything. He's just looking at Dhruva. Dhruva is looking at his father, expecting that, there will be some reciprocation, some consolation. Maybe my father will come, step in and stop this, what's happening to me. None of that happens. Uttanapad is just stunned. He's just looking at his wife, can't speak a word. This could be a situation in our life as well. That sometimes, so I'm more thinking in terms of the corporate world, that can happen, or in the temple as well. We may have multiple subordinates working with us, and we may be more favorable to one or not the other. So yes, it can happen. It's not unusual. But remember, this is the Uttanapad, who is the son of Swayambhu Manu. So they're not ordinary souls. So there's also this Lord's internal potency working there for his own pastime to happen. So we can't judge them. Also in the subsequent chapters after 9 and 10, Uttanapad, once Dhruva goes to the forest, Uttanapad's feelings are revealed. He loves his son. He becomes very morose after Dhruva leaves. But at the moment, at that time, he's not able to speak anything. So this Suruchi's self-importance, is quite interesting there. But one thing is that she's advised Dhruva to worship the Supreme Lord. So there is this, she's a devotee. She's a devotee, but not matured enough. That it's not just about worship the Lord and via me, only take birth in my womb. That's your objective of life, to worship Lord, is to take birth in my womb. So this interesting stage of devotion where you think it's me and my Lord who are the most important two personalities in this world. So everything that happens to do with Lord has to happen through me. So that's Suruchi. And we have similar scenario with Vidura, who was spoken very harshly by Duryodhan, and he just walked away from that situation. Shri Radha Kulanda Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Satananda Bhagavan ki jai. Yeah, so Suniti, then the Dhruva goes to his own mother, runs to his mother. He's crying, he's sobbing, he's breathing heavily. And he goes to his mother. His mother sees the child is crying, and obviously it's a very difficult moment for a mother to see his little child crying. In the meantime, what else has happened is, because it happened in the assembly, there are other servants of the king, soldiers, whoever, and the news goes to Suniti that this is what has happened. And Dhruva was trying to sit on his father's lap, and she was pulled down by his stepmother, and she spoke so many harsh words to the little boy. So how does Suniti react to that situation is what is interesting. Now this is, Suniti says, she's not only, if you imagine when the king is sitting on the throne, there's also his wives would have some place to sit in the assembly. And Suniti was not in the assembly because she was neglected a lot by her husband. And the other wife was given the priority. So the natural, response to that situation could be enviousness. Now Suniti had no envy. She was not envy to her co-wife. So if you compare that to the situation with the Chitraketu Maharaj's wife, Kritadyuti. So when Chitraketu Maharaj's wife was, Maharaj did not have a son. So he did, ask from Angira Rishi and Narad Muni that he must have a child to come on the throne. So they were blessed, and his first wife, Kritadyuti, she got the child. And does anyone know how many wives did Chitraketu Maharaj had? 10 million, it says, 1 crore wives, because he wanted to have a child, and he would not have a child, so he would marry and marry and marry and marry. Anyway, that was the point that we are saying is, once he had the child, Kritadyuti, naturally she became the favorite queen for the king because there was a child there. And there were other, 9.999 million wives. They became very envious of that situation, that now king is not giving us any attention. And this wife who's got the son, she's getting all the attention. So what did they do? They make a plan to kill their child. This is envy. They kill their child. And, that's another story for Chitraketu. But the point we are trying to make, if you compare the situation of Suniti and Kritadyuti's, and Chitraketu's other wives, even though when they were not getting any attention, they became so envious, they killed the child. Suniti was not getting any attention from her husband, but she was not saying anything like that. She was just humble, sitting in her own palace. So she had all the opulence. The thing is, the wife has all the opulence. She's a wife of a king. She's daughter-in-law of Swayambhu Manu. Yeah? But all the opulence is of no good because she has not got any affection from her husband. For a wife, more important is to get the affection of her husband rather than the opulence. Mother Sita left the opulence, the comfort of the palace, because she would rather go for the affectionate exchange with Lord Ram. And the affection for a wife from husband is very, very important. So that was denied to Suniti. And now Suniti, in that state of mind, she's sitting here, her child is coming, sitting on her lap. She was okay until now because she could tolerate what was going wrong there. She was ignored. She was treated like a maidservant. She was tolerating all that. She's a very pious and very mature devotee, if you say. Even though things were not right, she was just tolerating. But now the situation is slightly different. The only affection she could exchange was with her son. And that son was now in difficult situation. He was also insulted. She's been insulted all along, but now her son is also insulted. And now she can't take this. So how do we react to that? We are in that our situation. We could be neglected, and there's only one hope that we have, that is also taken away. So that's a very difficult situation. So Suniti, then we'll see how Suniti reacts to the situation. She says, first thing she says to Dhruva is, my dear child, you should not be envious of your stepmother. You should not be angry at her. She says, Dhruva then, is whatever we receive in this life, actually she says the one statement like, everything that we receive in our life is because of a karma. So someone is performing bad karma, I'm paraphrasing it, they will get the result of that. But she did not mean by saying that, because Suruchi has done something wrong to you, she should get the bad result for what she's doing. She was more saying to Dhruva that, my dear child, you must have done something wrong. You must have performed some bad karma in your previous life, and that's why it's coming to you. And other thing is, she says, I'm a very unfortunate woman. I've been neglected by my husband, and the fact that you've taken birth from my womb that means you're also unfortunate. So she's consoling in that way, asking Dhruva to accept the situation, not to fight back. This is the quality of devotee. Whatever happens, Whatever comes on our way, we try to accept. We accept that as the Lord's mercy. Yeah. Narad Muni also, in a similar, he was 5-year-old. Nothing wrong happened to him. He was, he had all the love from the Bhaktivedantas, and he was given the knowledge. He was just the only child of his mother. But when he was 5-year-old, this all happening, and his mother was, bitten by the snake, and she dies. Now, Narad Muni in that birth was just a little boy left on his own. So he just remembered all the instructions of the Bhaktivedanta. He left for the forest, similarly. So this situation, Suniti is saying now, she's in the tears, yeah? And her condition is, she's explained in the chapter that just like when there's a forest fire, the creeper which is just climbing on a large tree, how that creeper leaves, soft leaves will burn, that was her condition. Yeah, she's been affected so much by that. And she's asking his child to not carry any grudge and do not wish an ill fortune or inauspiciousness for others. So in spite of what you have gone through, first thing you have to do is do not wish any inauspiciousness for others. Just imagine if we are put into some difficulty by other person unnecessarily, uninvited, someone is dealing wrongly with it. It's hard to have that, the state of mind to not wish something wrong for the other person. So it's hard. But she says that you should not think of any inauspiciousness for them. Yeah, anyone who inflicts pain to others himself has to suffer that pain. So we must have done something in the previous life. So we should not blame. Prabhupada says, don't blame the instrument of result of your own karma. There was a past time where Prabhupada, one of his disciples, he decided to move into the temple. And the way he decided was he sold whatever inheritance he had, property, cash. He brought all the assets converted into cash he had, and he handed over to the temple president. And the next morning, he can't find the temple president anywhere. He's gone. So that response was very interesting. Prabhupada said to that devotee that it's just the instrument of your karma has come back to you. The devotee was so moved by that word. Prabhupada knew exactly what to speak when. So it was so, and that devotee just lived forever. Just stay in the moment. He loved Prabhupada's response so much. So we should not blame others for our predicament. And that requires a lot of maturity. Then Suniti says other thing also. It says, I'm helpless, but we're not trying to take any revenge. What can you do in this situation? The only thing I can think of is you worship the Supreme Lord. Because what I've heard is that your own great-grandfather, Brahmaji, when he wanted to get the knowledge of creation, he performed tapasya, he pleased the Supreme Lord, and he got the knowledge and the power to do what he did. Your own grandfather, Swayambhu Manu, also, he performed so many sacrifices, charities, to please the Supreme Lord, and he attained what he attained. So it seems like this is the best option for us, that we are solely dependent on Lord Krishna, and the Lord is always merciful to his devotees. So we should pray to the Lord, and what other thing is, we have seen all the yogis, they go to the forest and they perform tapasya, they meditate on the Lord. So maybe you should go to the forest and perform the tapasya. Yeah, so Dhruva is just not able to find any other solution, and neither Suniti could find any other solution. So there is no material solution to a material problem. The only solution is the spiritual solution, that is taking shelter of the Lord. That's what Suniti suggests to the little boy Dhruva. And she, all through the conversation, she just kept on saying that whatever Suruchi, she's not saying that this is my advice. She gives that credit also to Suruchi, saying, your stepmother has given you the right advice. So she only picked up what was good in that whole conversation. She did not pick up, why did she speak to you? Did she speak to you like my womb? None of those comes out of her mouth. The only thing she says is, your stepmother has given you right advice. Listen to her, what she's saying. She's not taking credit for that also. So this is the level of maturity. And you execute her instruction without being envious to her. Yeah? And you worship Vishnu. And then you will follow in the footsteps of your forefathers. And that may be the hope for us. Yeah? And this quality of accepting only the good is what is something for us to learn, I think, for me to learn. So Krishna has this quality constantly. There's pastime about Putana. So Putana was dressed like a mother, but she was a witch inside. So externally a mother, internally a witch. So the intention and action were different. Yeah, intention was to kill Krishna, but the action was to feed Krishna like her own child. And so Krishna only saw that what was good in the whole situation. Oh, this Putana wants to feed me like mother. So Krishna only looks at what's good in that. And that's how the devotees are. They only look for what is good in that situation that we can adopt to increase our own devotion, our own, our journey of spiritual life gets better and better if we just accept the good in all situations. So that was the response of Suniti. I'm just conscious of time, it's already halfway, there's so much to speak. So that's the, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of such stories. Yeah, Kunti Maharani also, in all situations, she's now, after all the difficult times, she's praying to Krishna. Maybe the more difficulties come, and then, we can take your shelter more and more. And Parikshit Maharaj also, when he was, inappropriately cursed by the little Shringi, his response was, that's the mercy of the Lord. I will just take whatever it is. So they were not trying to fight back the situation. The point, we're not pushing back. We're accepting what comes in our life. Whatever comes in our life, the situation is a mercy of the Lord for us. But the Dhruva is, it means actually is certain. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Sri Vijayar Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Dhruva is, in the word, means certainly. Is certain. Dhruva is resolute. Vyasayatmika buddhi eke hai kurunandana. Bhusha kahinantascha buddhayo vasayinam. So he's the one focus. One-minded, he performs the tapasya, and obviously he's also, Prabhupada says in the purport, Narad Muni comes and blesses him, gives him the mantra. So this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Prabhupada explains that, okay, this mantra is there, so what's the secret about it? But secret has to be given by a spiritual master. That's when the potency really happens, is received by the disciple. So Narad Muni also, being Lord, could understand the situation about his devotee, so he sends Narad Muni there. So this is the Chaitya Guru and the Guru working in conjunction, in parallel. So this is I think it's already 7:30. So maybe, I think the gist of the whole conversation was, there's a lot to speak. I'm not very practiced devotees. Lots of points still to be made. I think we'll close here. There's only one thing I'll read is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. This is the Dhruva is, Artharthi. Yeah, there are 4 types of Chaturvida Bhajante Mam. Sukritino. There are 4 Sukritinos. Artho Arthati Jigyashu Jnani. So Artho, his mother was Artho. She was distressed. But Dhruva was Artharthi, looking for some material opulence. So Madhya Leela, chapter 22, there is very beautiful 4 verses. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he's very, very foolish. Indeed, he's just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poisons. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Yes. Instead, I shall induce him to take nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, fulfill that desire. but he does not award anything which after being enjoyed will be then hankered again and again. So Krishna will fulfill the desire, but he will also at the same time forcibly give one shelter of his lotus feet, where one will forget all the desires. So the material fever starts to reduce bit by bit and the spiritual taste develops. So when someone engages in Lord's devotional service for satisfaction of the senses, he instead acquires a taste of serving Krishna. He gives up his material desires and willingly offers himself as an eternal servant of Krishna. Because Krishna gives us what we need, not what we want. And this is in the text 42, Madhya 22nd chapter. Then this beautiful verse says, when he was being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruva said, "O my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now I have gotten you, who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly persons and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead what I found was a most valuable jewel of you." So he was not, later on he regretted, oh, why did I ask for some material gain? Now I have it, so I have to enjoy it. So this is the pastime of Dhruva in a nutshell. Hare Krishna. Please, any comment, question, discussion we can take for 5 minutes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Dhruva. I just had a quick question, because we're emphasizing the quality of tolerance in devotees. And I was wondering, how can we kind of find that border between being tolerant and also standing up, or maybe fighting against injustice or something like that? Because from my understanding, we also say like things like anger can also be used to set boundaries or fight against injustice. So how can we find that balance between being tolerant and standing up?
I'll try, but there are devotees who can give better answers. I think the question that you're raising is, where do you draw a line? When do we tolerate, when do we not tolerate? So there could be a situation where we could be exploited as well. So the exploitation, yes. So that situation is always there. So the answers are always the same, that we have to use our intelligence in all situations. We have to use that. Because there may be, when we start devotional service, it is that for us, everyone seems to be, the pure devotee. So because we are talking in temple perspective, we're not talking about outside. So we think that everyone is a pure devotee, and we just surrender to everyone. I remember my own days, like, everyone is pure devotee. If that is true, that's how we should be thinking. But at the same time, we should also be careful that we don't get exploited. Because when we are developing our Krishna consciousness, if we are exploited, our reaction could be different. We could just leave. Many devotees have left because they could not take that. So better to be easy rather than, acting, because there's a tendency to act at that platform where we're saying, yes, I can tolerate anything and everything, but we can't actually tolerate. Maybe we can't, it's difficult to say, but it's our own call. And I think, in my experience, if we pray to the Lord and pray to the devotees, very important to have a good mentor as well, so who we can open our heart with. That relationship has to be there with one friend we need in our devotional life, with whom we can share that this is what's happened with me and this was. So then, practically, this is the tip I could give. Yes, so.
Just commenting about the Putna incidents. In her previous life, she was the daughter of Bali Maharaj. And when Vamanadev took everything from Bali Maharaj, she was attracted to him, to Vamanadev, wanted Vamanadev as a son. But when Vamanadev took everything from Bali Maharaj, she also became envious of Vamanadev, saying that, I like to have you as my child, but I'll poison you at the same time.
Oh.
So that's why she became Putna in the next life.
Oh, Putna. Oh, yes. She was the daughter of Bali Maharaj.
Yeah.
Bali Maharaj. Yeah, okay. That's nice.
But like you said in your class, Krishna is very merciful. He only sees the bright side.
The good side, yes.
So he only took the good side of it. So even in our devotional service, whatever anathas we may have, we just focus on Krishna and we'll become purified from those anathas.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, nice. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.